First things first, if you clicked on this video and have no idea who EDITH is, there will be some Spider-Man Far From Home spoilers, so stop now, watch the movie, and then come on back. Tony Stark had one last parting gift to the MCU after turning Thanos and his army to dust, and that was a pair of smart glasses equipped with a brand new AI, EDITH. Or even dead, I'm the hero. Those smart glasses and the massive technological might of Stark Industries were gifted to Peter Parker at the beginning of Far From Home. But who else could make use of such a powerful piece of wearable technology? Let's take a look. Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts might be the character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who could be best described as long-suffering. While the antics of the MCU's genius billionaire playboy philanthropist might have been a lot of fun to watch, working for Tony was more frustrating. That's certainly true for Quentin Beck and his team. While it wasn't enough to drive Pepper Potts to a life of crime disguised as heroism, it did have its pitfalls. Despite it all, she remained by his side, taking over Stark Enterprises and even the role of rescue for the final battle against Thanos. Pepper hasn't always been the biggest fan of Tony Stark's superhero shenanigans, but ultimately she supported her boss and eventual husband. Despite her dislike for Stark's superhero hobby, she stepped into the role of superhero herself even before donning the blue power suit of rescue. Now granted, as the head of Stark Industries, she has all the access that EDITH grants, but without Tony's technical genius, getting it to have a user-friendly interface would be harder to come by, at least without putting the rescue armor on. Professor Hulk. It's been a long, strange trip for the mild-mannered Bruce Banner. With only one solo movie under his belt, Banner and his alter ego, the ever-loving Hulk, have still managed to cast a large shadow over the Marvel Cinematic Universe since his introduction. But it hasn't always been easy for the good doctor. He spent almost as much time fighting the Avengers as fighting with them, and he's easily the most reluctant of the heroes. Early on, the genius scientist was able to relate to the Avengers' other geniuses, and Bruce and Tony quickly became dubbed the Science Bros by the fans. That bromance extended beyond just being able to exchange heavy technical jargon with each other. In Age of Ultron, the pair teamed up to build not one, but two super robots, though only one worked out in their favor. They also teamed up to make Scott Lang's time heist idea work. In Endgame, Banner came to terms with his smash-oriented other self to become Professor Hulk with the brains of Banner and the brawn of Hulk. If there's anyone who could make use of Tony's tech in EDITH, it'd be the other half of the Science Bros. Plus, with that wounded arm, he might need the help. Rhodey. Pepper Potts might be the champion of long-suffering companions of the brash and egotistical Tony Stark, but she's far from the only one. Stark Industries thrived on defense contracts and research grants, making weapons for the military. But being a research contractor for the US government meant that he would have a liaison between him and the military. That took the form of his friend and sometimes armored ally, Rhodey. James Rhodes wrote interference between Tony and the military when he developed the Iron Man suit, but refused to give it over. And when Tony demonstrated that he was not going to use that technology responsibly, he took one of the suits and turned it over to the government. Becoming War Machine or Iron Patriot, depending on which model he was wearing. Far From Home hinged a lot on who would take over the role of Iron Man metaphorically. But Rhodey already fills that role with his own suit of modified Iron Man armor. No one thought to ask the guy who already had an Iron Man suit if he was going to be the next Iron Man? Rude. Of all the people in the MCU, Rhodes probably could have used the access to EDITH would have given him. Hopefully his suit's AI got an upgrade. Nick Fury. Nick Fury is a man of many tricks. While Tony Stark is the genius and the resources of Stark Industries to draw from, Nick Fury has the resources of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or had. Or still has, but not as much. Despite S.H.I.E.L.D. and its director Nick Fury having a seamlessly endless bag of tricks, Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. still need to turn to the Stark family to get that super spy edge. In fact, it's the elder Stark who helps get the agency off the ground in the first place with his tech and Peggy Carter's know-how. Perhaps the best example of the Stark effect on S.H.I.E.L.D. is the helicarrier. The first helicarrier we see uses such mundane technology as giant propellers to lift the carrier out of the water. The next time we see helicarriers, they've been upgraded with Stark repulsor technology. But it's not clear if Fury asked, which might be the only reason that Nick Fury wasn't given EDITH glasses. While Fury has protecting the world on his mind, Stark and Fury definitely had some well-earned trust issues. That and maybe they only work with stereo vision. Awkward. Happy Hogan. When it comes right down to it, everyone in Tony's life could probably be described as long-suffering in some way or another. That might explain why so many of his enemies know him personally. Tony Stark's enemies make up a lion's share of the MCU bad guys. The one person who seemed to actually enjoy his job even if he didn't smile that often was the former boxer Happy Hogan. Initially, he was Tony Stark's chauffeur and bodyguard. But when your boss is Iron Man, bodyguard becomes a little redundant. When Tony passed control of Stark Industries to Pepper Potts, he also passed his friend and driver's job over as well. Eventually, though, Happy became the asset manager for Stark, which include not only looking after the inventory for the Avengers, but also keeping an eye on a particular wall-crawling superhero that Tony had recruited in Civil War. It's not always a job that Happy relished. but Parker did eventually manage to earn Hogan's respect, mostly by saving his job with some superheroics. With asset management being a big part of EDITH's function, having that at Hogan's fingertips? Eye-tips? Whatever. It might make life easier for the driver-turned-equipment manager for Earth's mightiest heroes. Hank Pym. Even Tony Stark's friends end up in conflict with Tony Stark. They don't always turn into supervillains, but they don't always forgive him either. There's at least one Stark-level scientist out there who has a grudge against Stark, but still managed to fight for the good guys, and that's Hank Pym. Pym has his own set of issues, and him and Stark's differences might stem from their similarities. While Hank Pym might be a prickly pear in the MCU, he's actually toned down a bit from his comic book counterpart. That guy is a giant jerk. Or tiny jerk, sometimes. Most of Pym's beef with the Stark took place between him and the elder Stark, but he's had less than kind words for the younger Stark as well. Despite that professional rivalry, there's still a level of professional respect between the two super scientists. It was Hank's Pym particle technology that made the time heist a possibility in the first place, and for all of Stark's genius, they still needed a Hank Pym to make the needed Pym particles. With Stark-level genius, and maybe even outdoing Stark when it comes to trust issues with authority, Pym would have been a fitting steward for Edith. Falcon. Of all the heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Sam Wilson, who became Falcon, is the one backed into that superhero life. All he was really trying to do was go for a jog, but then someone kept coming in on his left. That someone was, of course, Steve Rogers, otherwise known as Captain America. Rogers and Wilson became close friends, not over superheroics, although Wilson had been an experimental special forces operative, but over trying to ease the transition from soldier back into regular society. Having retired from the military, Sam counseled other veterans on that transition. Cap follows his friend's lead, becoming a grief counselor for survivors of the decimation. After Wilson came in on Cap's left for the final battle in Endgame, Cap was able to regain the life he lost thanks to the magic of time travel, returning his old man Steve to pass the shield to his old friend. While the role of the next Iron Man might be a heavy burden to bear, being the next Captain America is almost unfathomable. Without the super soldier serum, Sam can use all the help he can get, including Edith. Black Panther. The role of Captain America is very location-specific. While Cap has saved the world and then half of the whole universe, he's still a domestic product. With that geographic specificity, that means he has to look for another American to fill the role of Captain America. Otherwise, that space is clearly filled by Wakandan's own sworn protector and king, T'Challa, the Black Panther. And Black Panther is way cooler sounding than Captain Wakanda. Like Captain America, he has enhanced abilities thanks to a powerful drug. But T'Challa gets to drink the heart-shaped herb and see his ancestors instead of being injected with a serum and then put in a science fiction pod. It makes being bitten by a spider that much more manageable sounding, right? But it's not just enhanced physical attributes and vibranium accessories that make T'Challa like Captain America. T'Challa has a very Captain America-like moral compass, and an urge to do the right thing despite the consequences. As a result, Black Panther's conflicts have been moral dilemmas as much as they've been punching and kicking dilemmas. Having the resources of Edith as well would be fitting, but his sister probably can whip up something for him, and she'd probably program the synapses to work collectively. Scarlet Witch. There was a lot of loss to go around when Thanos came to town. That's probably a line from a country song somewhere in the MCU. Anyway, a lot of people lost a lot. After the time heist and the nano gauntlet snapped back, a lot of people got what they lost back, but not everybody. One of those people was the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. She had already lost a lot long before Thanos went on his march to kill half of existence. She lost family to Stark Industries weapons in Sokovia. She lost her brother to Ultron drones, and at some point lost her accent. When Thanos came calling, on the top of his shopping list was the Infinity Stone that gave the love in her life. While the remaining Avengers and the country of Wakanda staged a spirited defense to allow Shuri enough time to remove the Mind Stone from Vision without killing him, it was all in vain. To make matters worse, to prevent Thanos from getting the stone, she had to kill her boyfriend herself, only to watch Thanos bring him back and kill him again, this time taking the stone. Ouch. Edith would have been a nice way to give Wanda a little bit of what she lost back after everyone else got some sort of reunion. Captain Marvel. While she's been the universe's superhero since the 90s, for Earth's mightiest heroes, Captain Marvel's a newcomer. Nick Fury apparently kept the woman who inspired the Avengers initiative a secret from the Avengers themselves. When it was clear the snap had happened and the Avengers scattered, Nick Fury finally called on the spacefaring hero to come home and save the day. Unfortunately, for half of everyone, it was too late. As powerful as Danvers was, she wasn't able to undo a snap from the Infinity Gauntlet. Having been an absentee hero for Earth for so long, Danvers kept in touch with Earth and the Avengers a little more actively, sharing briefings with Natasha and the rest of the team. Even though she called now and then and rode to rescue during the final fight, She's still a spacebound hero with Earth roots, and during most of Endgame, she was off in the universe solving universe problems because other worlds don't have the Avengers. Tony Stark's main interaction with Captain Marvel came when she showed up in deep space to return the marooned Stark to Earth. While Tony might not have been the happiest to see his old teammates, he might have felt a bit of gratitude for his cosmic-powered savior and maybe upgraded that 90s pager she had using Edith. Those are some of the people who could have used the help of Edith. Who do you think could wear the glasses of Tony Stark? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, why not subscribe to CBR? You won't be able to summon drones, but you'll be able to get the latest videos. Thanks for watching.